Hello, good evening and welcome to UPfront. Tonight, we get into that particular debate over whether or not it's the appropriate time or the appropriate decision to build a new chamber of parliament. That particular decision by the current parliament and the government has been received by the masses of this republic to be a very bad taste. The reaction has been there. You've seen the hashtag that's insisting that they drop that chamber now. But let's move beyond the current people who are making a decision. Let's get to speak to people who have been there and run the parliament before about this particular decision. Well, on the phone lines now is my guest. A former Deputy Speaker of Parliament, the Honourable Ken Drasa, joins us. You're welcome, sir, to UPfront.
Thank you.
I hope you are doing well this evening.
Well, by His grace.
Now, I want to start this conversation by first asking you whether when you were a Deputy Speaker and in your long-term stay in Parliament, did the issue about a new parliamentary chamber ever come up?
Okay. Now, to address this issue, I need to give a little historical perspective.
Please do.
You recall that the Fourth Republic started on the 7th of January, 1993, with the formal inauguration of President Rawlings at the Independence Square. Now, during the round-up to the second inauguration, the MPP, which had then entered Parliament for the first time, by its leader, kicked against the ceremony being held at the Independence Square. It was during a debate on the appropriateness of the use of the Independence Square as venue for the sitting of Parliament that Mr. J.H. Mensah, then Majority Leader, made an insightful statement that the Speaker had authority to determine where Parliament could sit, and he even made a joke of it that the Speaker could even order that Parliament sit or sat even under a mango tree in Damongo. Now, when, by the wisdom of J.H. Mensah, the first inauguration of President Kufuor was held at the forecourt of the State House on the 7th of January 2001, it was a total disaster. The place was congested, highly unsuitable, and too small for the function, to the extent that seats meant for MPs were taken over by guests, and some MPs had to stand throughout the sitting of the House. Now, for President Kufuor's second inauguration, therefore, Parliament had to revert to the Independence Square. Now, since then, all inaugurations have been taking place at the Independence Square without hindrance.
Okay.
Now, you see, my brother, the controversy over the venue, I believe, was laid to rest. So it is strange that today a similar argument about the size of the chamber is being raised as justification for a new chamber. You see, if you permit me to go back a little into history, the first year of the first Parliament in the Fourth Republic was hosted in the Accra International Conference Center. Nobody would deny that it was an unsuitable venue. Now, but since the State House was refurbished to become the chamber, that venue was found suitable, leading to the development of Job 600 and its environment into a state-of-the-art parliamentary precinct. So what has really changed? Now, I ask myself a number of questions. Now, is it the 124 ministers that cannot have seats that is the problem? Or is it that we are getting free money to build it? My brother, this is quite disturbing because it has been suggested that the configuration of the chamber is such that the aisles between the majority and minority is too narrow, and that a bigger chamber will create more space and reduce chances of conflict and physical combat.
Yes.
This is one of the arguments I've heard. But I am submitting that this is the most ridiculous argument I have ever heard. Why? Even Accra House of Oak and Kotoko supporters are able to break metal barriers in stadiums to fight. So what kind of physical barrier can be created by a relocation of that parliament into a bigger house? You see, during my 16-year career in parliament, I spent 4 years as the international president of one of the largest international parliamentary groups on the globe. That is the Parliamentarians for Global Action, which is a network of parliamentarians drawn from about 120 countries. At every one time, the membership of that group was about 1,200. So I can say with pride that I am widely traveled. I visited over 80 parliaments during my tenure as international president. And I can say, upon authority, that Ghana can be rated among the top 5 in terms of structure, facility, and opportunity that is available to, parliamentarians.
Compared to which number of parliamentary buildings you have seen or visited across the world?
I'm saying that I have traveled and visited 80 parliaments.
80?
Or more, yes. Because I was serving in this capacity for 4 years.
Okay.
No, so in terms of suitability, our parliament house compares favorably, if not better, than even the U.S. Senate, the Canadian Senate, the German Bundesrat, the Russian Duma.
I see.
Name them. In fact, coming back to our continent, in Africa, I can't even see Nigeria or South Africa as favorable competitors. If you wish, do some research. Just pick pictures from this parliament and see the configuration, the beauty of it, and the ease with which it facilitates, parliamentary business. Now, if the speculation going around that a grant is in the offing, I hear it is on the Indian government for our new chamber. If that speculation is true, all I wish to ask you to do is to visit the Indian parliament itself. You will realize that the proverbial vulture should not prescribe medication for baldness. Because
I see.
What we have currently is far, far more beautiful than the Indian parliament. So how would they be given this prescription, and we are happy about it? I am saying this in the hope that it is just a mere speculation.
Former Deputy Speaker, the reference they've made before is to the Chinese government helping us with cash to build this particular edifice. Are you saying that our parliament is of a more magnificent nature compared to that of the Chinese?
I haven't visited the Chinese.
Okay.
That's why my speculation, I limited it to India. I thought it was India.
Okay.
But you see, even then, if that is the case, we should always remember that those gifts do not come free in life. You remember several millions of dollars from the taxpayer were added to the Indian grant for the Flagstaff House to stand even in its partially completed state currently. Now, there is nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with the current chamber.
I get your point. I think I need to reiterate to you the defects that have been identified by the current leadership of the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, which is warranting this particular decision. They say that, for example, somebody can throw acid on the Speaker of Parliament. Again, the MPs are getting too close to each other, and there's one to do with whether or not one can actually basically do the unhealthy thing on the other, and the speaker cannot see some 22 MPs clearly. So they can't catch the speaker's eye, which is the only mode in which you can be identified on the floor to speak, except when you have not pre-arranged to speak on the matter. Another one, terrorists can bomb the president during swearing in at the Independence Square. And these are predominantly coming from the majority leader in this case. You first spoke to the Independence Square and the decision being settled. Did that particular agreement on the Independence Square take into consideration the recent threats of terrorism in the sub-region and the ones we have received as a country on its own?
Oh, my brother, are we not going too far? Are we not going too far? Now, let us look at this problem. In that event, then the president should not appear at any public gathering of the size that is equivalent to the convening of Parliament at the Independence Square. I mean, why are we going to be, blaming terrorism? All these arguments are non-starters. They are non-starters. You would appreciate that in its current form, it has taken a lot of investment to re-engineer that chamber. Just 4 years ago, several millions of cedis were spent on recreating that chamber. And I recently visited the Parliamentary Library. It is a state-of-the-art electronically propelled establishment there. These are beautiful edifices. Nobody can dispute. But the issues that are being introduced now, honestly, I beg to differ. Now, I am the first to admit that MPs need a congenial environment to work.
Yes, and that has been trumpeted consistently. That's why many are shocked that you are of some difference with the current quest to make sure a befitting environment is actually given to the people who represent us.
No, my brother, my submission is that that congenial environment is provided by the existing arrangement. So if anybody argues that parliamentarians, are you hearing me?
I can hear you, sir.
Need comfort, which is over and above what is available today. I am afraid that person is trending for fashion and elegance.
Oh, I see.
Yes, because, I mean, let us suggest this thing. You will see the reaction of the populace already to what is happening. And it is a matter that we plead our parliamentarians to listen to.
Now, I want you to be able to provide me some guidance on this particular matter, mindful of your experience. Now, there are those strongly that of the Parliamentary Service Board, the executive have no inkling, knowledge, they just heard it in the media like we've all been told. Is it possible for the Parliament to decide that we are in the position to build a new chamber, proceed to engage somebody to do the architectural impression of same, without in any way bringing in the executive that's going to raise money and fund it?
In the first place, if this suggestion had come up, and the suggestion is coming prior to the budget, it would mean that government will be requested to make inputs into the annual budget for the purposes of meeting that expenditure. But we are in the middle of a budget year, and this thing has just blown into our face. So it is difficult for me to determine whether or not this matter has been dealt with at the level of the executive prior to its exposure to us. Now, I am very, very handicapped in determining whether it is so. Now, but let me just give you an inkling.
Okay.
I was deputy speaker for 12 years. Now, for the first 8 years, I was first deputy speaker, and I was a very close assistant of Justice Anna.
Yeah.
Now, so I had the privilege of sitting and ascertaining the workings of the Parliamentary Service Board. The Parliamentary Service Board is just like any statutory board. That is to oversee the interests of the institution that it represents.
I see.
It is not supposed to be working literally in the dark somewhere and springing surprises at even the parliamentarians. Most of the parliamentarians are saying that they are not even aware of this. Now, if this thing is a matter that is to be discussed and it has a reflection on their welfare and their comfort, I thought that as a matter of prudence, they should have been put in the picture.
Okay. The majority leader just apologized to the parliamentarians for keeping them in the dark on this particular matter. I also want to count on experience resolving a particular issue. Now, if you check the budgetary allocation, the detailed budget of the Parliament as given from the Ministry of Finance, you will see that capital expenditure is some 72 million. Now, the detailed budget suggests that this is for maintenance, refurbishment of existing facilities and assets. Can we extrapolate that the 72 million, which has been devoted and titled for maintenance, refurbishment of existing assets, can be used in the commencement of a new chamber?
What you are saying clearly means that you are looking forward to vie that 72 million into a development project like we are envisaging. I can tell you that under the leadership of Justice Anang, this would not happen. But we have a situation where we have a new leader of the House, we have a different speaker, and so if we are witnessing this revolutionary injection into the work of Parliament, I am not able to make any definite pronouncement on it. But it must be clear that even if it is a grant that is coming from the Chinese government, this has to go through the scrutiny of Parliament. Now, there is often this statement that if a blind man wants to throw a stone at you, the stone is under the blind man's feet. Is it the case that the Chinese have come out clearly and they are ready to offer this thing? Is it also the case that the Parliamentary Service Board is so positive that the entire membership of Parliament will go along with this kind of extravagance? Is that the case? Now, the next issue is, what is going to be the future of the current house, which has been refurbished at such a colossal sum? Why are we doing this to our nation?
Well, I'm told that a conference facility will not be a bad idea.
A conference facility to be run by Parliament, right? As a commercial wing.
There's also reference, and finally, before you go, to the fact that the former President Mahama was seen of himself interested in actually making sure the Parliament has a more befitting place in this particular case. Would you say that he also perhaps perceived of an error in the making of that particular decision?
I am not aware that President Mahama made a statement in relation to the chamber.
Okay.
There has been a developmental process through which the institution of Parliament has passed. Starting first of all with the refreshment of the Speaker's block.
Okay.
Then to the Peter Lagete block, which houses the committee rooms, and now the offices which are accommodated, that is offices of the parliamentarians, which are accommodated in the Justice and Red block. Now, I am not aware that the follow-up was to provide a befitting Parliament house.
It was never the intent. Is that what you're saying?
Even having said this, now, is that justification for us, faced with all the challenges that we have as a nation, the level of our national debt, which we are unable to service satisfactorily, the challenges we have in the educational health sectors, infrastructure, our roads, the housing, and the level of unemployment. Is it proper to dissipate our resources on a venture like this? My respectful opinion is that this is not a proper thing to even think about, let alone start programming and planning to invest in it.
I'm grateful and I'm pleased that you join us today. Many thanks to you, former Deputy Speaker of Ghana's Parliament, who served in deputy position for 12 good years, the Honorable Ken Drasa. Thank you so much for joining us on this show. Well, folks, after this break, we'll continue with that conversation, but with a slightly different focus on why district assemblies are going to get more money after the Supreme Court has directed government to do so. You welcome back. This is Upfront. My name is Raymond Dakwa. The first part of this conversation was dedicated to that debate, that brouhaha surrounding the building of a new parliamentary chamber. You've seen the hashtag that's actually been trending the last 2 days, top notch. It's about drop that chamber now. Ghanaian populace, people very livid over this particular decision by their legislators who represent them, to have for themselves a more luxurious chamber to actually make sure that they can sit a higher number, they can do all the wonderful things that Parliament is supposed to do, but decision is being kicked against big time. You just heard there a former Deputy Speaker who says throughout the history of Parliament, where to hold your swearing-in ceremony has been decided. Again, where to actually have MP sit has actually been decided. His final argument is also that he's been to 80 different parliamentary buildings across the world. Ghana's own is in the top 5. There's no justification at all for a new one. That's according to the Honorable Ken Drasa, who's a former capacity. Now, I remember here for a twin job. First, I want to know, because we are asking people and we ask their constituents whether they believe in their decisions or not. Parliamentarians democracy, it was expected that you discuss with me, your constituent, what you are doing in the House so that I approve of it. Then you go and say what I want you to say. The Honorable Benjamin Podo, what is your stand on the building of a new parliamentary chamber in this particular case? For or against?
Against.
You are against it?
Yes.
You obviously have not consulted the leader of your side.
Certainly, this matter was sprung on us because we have not been confronted with it in Parliament, and we've not had the opportunity to discuss it and air our views.
I see.
Yes, so many of us on the two sides of the divide have expressed disagreement with an intended move to construct a new chamber for Parliament.
What's the basis of your disagreement?
Yeah, we think that the present chamber we have is sufficient for 275 MPs.
But hopefully there may be more in the nearest future.
If yesterday the majority leader, Honorable Seche Mensah Bonsu, was interviewed here, Joy Prime.
Yes.
Yes. He said, and I'm very, very in agreement with him, that even the 275 is one too many. He said he would be happy if we went back to 200. Yeah, so I do not anticipate new creations of constituencies within
but rather when ministers and co come in to occupy spaces within the same chamber. That's why we need a 450 chamber.
You see, let's talk about practicalities.
Yeah.
In Parliament now, the only occasion that many people come beyond the 275 is when the president comes for State of the Nation address. That's when ex-presidents come,
dignitaries, ambassadors,
and so they all come in to listen. And that's about 2 hours, and they are gone. Most of the time, you people have been complaining, most of the time we are absent.
Yes, but it's true that your attendance is not, it's not something that is unknown to the people of this republic.
That is true, because sometimes, by the time we are adjourning, we are left with just about 30, 40.
That's true.
Yes. So what then, even on an occasion where we had to vote in a highly partisan manner, we are not full. We are not full. So we don't think that we should spend money now building a new parliament. But the concept is good. We have security challenges. You were witness.
Yes.
To
the
somebody
who
just
almost jumped over.
Yes, it just easily went onto the gallery and provided some rope for himself. He wanted to cause suicide in Parliament.
Yeah, that's true.
So the question is, how did that person so easily enter with his implement to come and commit such a crime?
But is that not more of an issue to do with the personnel station there, ensuring that they have top-notch security, and not necessarily to do with the parliament?
But he wanted to jump onto the floor of Parliament. There's no protection there.
But to be fair, this is an isolated incident. I mean, you can't count five on these.
Yes, but you don't know when a bigger thing will happen.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
you must prevent it.
So you are saying that...
So we can redesign. We can redesign the structures in Parliament to provide for higher security measures. Even the lift that we use to our offices.
Yeah.
We have 3 lifts. The middle lift is for general purpose, for anybody.
Yeah.
Like when you visit me in Parliament, you have to use that lift. The west and the east lifts are for members of Parliament only. But you find anybody entering into the lift. Sometimes we have 1 MP and 2 non-MPs. You don't know why they have come there. You cannot identify them. What if inside the lift?
They are Ghanaians. They are
Ghanaians. They are welcome.
Who pay your salaries.
But that is why provision has been made that, okay, use this lift and come up. This one, leave it to only MPs. Yeah, you say all of this, but when a tragedy happens, you turn around and accuse
the people of not managing the place.
Again,
that can also be dealt with that way.
Yes.
Why do you allow everybody to go up to the offices in the first place? Why can't we?
You have just answered the question. You have just answered the question. For instance,
but again, I think that's more of the personal place
from my constituency.
Yes.
He has every right to come to me. But what the rules say is that they should come through a middle lift and not through where other MPs, because I may be in my office. I don't know which MP is in the lift.
Okay.
And then somebody strange enters the lift and harms the MP as they ride up.
I get you. Now, I want us to conclude on this.
So I think we should concentrate on providing further security measures.
But it's interesting that you disagree with your leader.
Oh, but why not? Even when we are going to discuss, I have disagreed with him.
Is that not disrespectful to the leader?
No, that's democracy.
That hardly happens, actually. It hardly happens that the whip system will not work so well. And it looks like...
No, even when NPP whipped all their MPs, the last time we were voting on the Bono regional minister, we suspected that some of NPP MPs voted against.
Oh, I see.
we suspected. I don't have the evidence.
Well, that would be interesting to know. I'm interested to know the people who are breaking ranks in Parliament.
I don't have the evidence because the NDC members were not up to as many as no votes we had.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
So surely there must be somebody from the other side.
Yes, that's a suspicion.
It's interesting. Our Parliament is developing because some people believe that you are just, rubber stamps. You are
no, not entirely.
Yeah.
Sometimes we go up ahead and approve a particular agreement, but that does not mean we all agree to it.
Okay, that's true.
Yes.
All right. Now, let me ask you this question. You're on the Finance Committee of Parliament too, very vociferous member of that particular committee. This chamber, was it really budgeted for?
I did not cite it, but there was an omnibus provision for capital expenditure.
Yes, but the capital expenditure description.
So the discretion of executive to apply that fund still exists.
Even though the exact titling of that particular 72 million for capital expenditure was for refurbishment, it was for what they call it. It was for refurbishment. It was for maintenance, and not necessarily. There's no mention of a new chamber underneath that.
You see, when bulk sums are allocated to MMDAs.
Yeah.
It is the responsibility of the organizations themselves to do the detailed work.
Okay.
And we at Finance Committee don't look at the very details of every department. Like if money is in bulk allocated to local government, it will come to local government committee. If money is allocated to some other ministry, Ministry of Energy, it will go to the Energy Committee. So I did not have the opportunity to look at the specific application of the capital expenditure grant given to Parliament.
I get you.
But what you said can be true if some money is given
specifically for
capital expenditure
and maintenance.
Yes.
That is what is in your detailed budget on the Ministry of Finance's website.
But mind you, budget spending officers, heads of budget, have some leeway to vary or to vie where we
and this may include the building or the commencement of a new parliamentary complex with money devoted for maintenance.
That once the head of the institution seeks approval from the Minister for Finance.
They have to seek approval.
Yes, so I do not know
whether Parliament has sought approval.
Yes, what processes the Speaker went through to engage that.
I get your point. Now, let me